So first off, I wanted to say I missed you. Also, today's going to be a fun day. We're just going to jump inside of Unity, and we're going to be working on a bunch of cool stuff. I'm writing a list right now, trying to think through all the things that I need to work on today for our game. I say our, my game, Twisted Tower. I don't know why I always say our. So for the Twisted Tower edits today, we have a couple of things: elevator fixes, an enemy that we want to work on. We want to distribute turrets around the game. It's gonna be fun. We've got so many things to do. Mainly, we're just gonna hang out. Let me close this. Mainly, we're just gonna hang out, talk to each other, have a good time, let you guys ask questions about game dev, and just hang out and have a good time. That's my priority for you guys and for me today. Hey, thank you, Michael W., Max C., Thomas C., and Kento K. Thank you so much for joining Full-Time Game Dev. It means the world to me that you would enroll in Full-Time Game Dev. It's so cool that you trust me to show you the ropes of how to not only make games, but also how to potentially turn it into a full-time gig. Obviously, I can't make any promises, guys. I could just tell you what I've learned. By the way, there's a massive spring sale that started today. For those of you who are curious, you're like, well, wasn't it 25% off, a couple weeks ago, last week, but now it's 40%. 40% off sales are like maybe quarterly, okay? So it's usually during a season shift. And so 40% off starting today to celebrate spring, because I love spring. You also get my 2D and 3D art programs completely free. These are really big programs taught by an actual indie game dev artist. That's me, and then also the 3D artist for Twisted Tower. He teaches the 3D art program, which is awesome because Twisted Tower's art is incredible, and he does an incredible job teaching that. So look, if you want to learn from an actual indie game dev on how to not only make indie games, whether it's 2D, 3D, whether it's Unity, Godot, Unreal, or whether you want to also learn, and by the way, you could take your pick. It doesn't matter which engine you want to learn. You could just pick one in the program. But if you also want to learn how to turn it into six figures, whether it's publishers, Kickstarter, hitting the Steam front page, how to get coverage from press, how to get coverage from streamers, I teach about all of this. The cool thing is it's worked for me. It's worked for the last 10 years for me. So you're learning from somebody who's actually done it, right, and is currently doing it. And then also it's worked for several of my students: Chris Stair, Bart Mamser, Everflux Games. Plenty of great reviews here if you want to take a look at the link in the description. Soltar, Antonio, Thomas Stewart. Look, game dev is hard. Going full-time indie is hard. But if that's something you dream of, check out the link below. You got 14 days left. There's only 98 seats left. Because 2 seats were taken today, but these will sell out by the end of the 14 days. So be sure to enroll if this is something you're interested in. And as always, guys, thanks for letting me read these ad reads and supporting the channel. Whether it's sponsorships or sponsoring myself, it means the world that you guys would show up and let me do these ad reads, because I know sometimes it can be a little annoying. But anyway, by the way, if you're a student, let me know in the chat what you think about the program, and I'll try and shout you out in the chat. Okie dokie. You guys ready to jump in? First off, guys, how's everybody doing? What are you working on? What are you working on today? I'm going to try and pull the chat up here. Give me just a second. I'm going to pull the chat up on my monitor right there. By the way, your face lives in my monitor. That's why I can look at it and also see the chat. It's a cool little clear monitor that's being reflected. So I could see your chat while I'm looking at a monitor, which is really cool. Yeah, what's everybody working on today? Let's see here. Hey, Gordon, how you doing, buddy? Thank you, Gordon. Gordon is one of my favorite people. Gordon, what are you working on these days, buddy? Jay Stewart says, I'm a student and working on a special gun in my game. That's awesome. By the way, guys, if you happen to see any dandruff in my hair, it's actually sparkles, because I went and got my hair sparkled in Disney World with my daughter. There's this barber shop, and you can get sprinkles put in your hair. So you're just chilling, going to work on a few projects to watch this. First time being in a stream. That's awesome, Dragon. Hey, Thomas, been watching you for many years. Just started a new 2D project. It's so hard to start, but your working has been inspiring, so thank you. That's awesome. Keep it up, Morgan. That's awesome. Foxite says, I'm writing. Oh, Foxite, I got to tell you, I've been working on a novel for 10 years. And it's small. It's not a big novel, and it's not particularly good. It's really a stream of consciousness, just rambling. But I think something's there. I think something's special about it. You know, to be able to write in a voice is like the most valuable thing about writing. To have a voice. So I've been trying to finish that up. So I was writing today as well. It was weird. I couldn't stop. I know I have so much to do, but I just opened up Google Docs and started writing. So I'm hoping to finish that up. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump into Twisted Tower today. One of the things I was working on I think it was 2 weeks ago, because I was at Disney for a week. One of the things I've been trying to do is I'm trying to figure out, okay, look, if we activate the button, we want to deactivate the previous button, right? So right here. So if complete elevator button upon insert, then we're going to deactivate a previous floor. Gordon, does this make sense to you, man? Basically, I'm trying to make it so you can't go to previous floors. Gordon says, I'm doing a staycation this week, but just delivered a huge project at work. Been playing around with 3D modeling and Ragdoll in Unity. That's funny. Sweet. Thomas, what do you think about making a rage game for a beginner indie game? I think that's a great idea, because rage games, from what I've heard, especially talking to Pawnee Pants, it's pretty straightforward. You know, they could be pretty linear. You don't even need a save system, to be completely honest. You don't need a menu. All the things that take forever, you know. Backtracking and all that, replayability. I don't really know if that's stuff you have to worry about with rage games. Okay, so that should complete the button after you've inserted a ticket. So if I insert ticket 1 and then I insert ticket 2, ticket 1 should deactivate. That's the theory. So let's see if that works. I don't even know if honestly this is what we need to do, though, because no, that does work. That does work. Actually, this all makes sense. So let's go ahead and try this out. It should deactivate the previous button and set it to complete. It should complete it. So for example, this one right here, elevator button 5, once it's completed, it should look like this. So let's go to our animator. By the way, those of you just joining us, just remember to click that link below to check out the free webinar. There's a webinar below that's totally free. It's going to teach you how to get an actual paycheck from making indie games. It's not, I would never, ever, 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 I have to say this lately, I would never, ever, ever say that making indie games or making games profitable is easy. And that, ooh, Thomas said I can make 6 figures, so it's going to be easy. It's not easy. But I can tell you what I've done and how to do it. That's all I can say. So click the link below. There's a free webinar below, and you'll learn a lot. Okay, so let's double check something here. Button completed. If completed equals true. So let's just, basically we just need to look at see if the completed even does anything. So I'm going to make sure I'm going to just see if that parameter gets set and it actually works. What's the goal, Thomas? I got pulled away. Basically, Gordon, I'm not sure if Gordon has played, I think, a good chunk of this game because Gordon worked on this game. A lot of the code you see in this game is from Gordon, actually. So guys, say hi to Gordon in the chat. And actually, I don't know if you care if I say this, Gordon. I tried to get Gordon to join me and help out with some work. But Gordon he's too famous now for me. So he's a busy guy. But basically what I want it to be is I want floor 1 to disable when I insert the ticket 2. That's the goal. so that I can't go to floor 1. Let's set the animator here to completed. Just see what happens. Okay, good. It works. Okay, so that is working. And I shouldn't really be able to press it. I don't love this solution, to be completely honest with you. Just because it's not very pretty. But it's fine for now. It's fine for now. Let's just get it working. So there's floor 1 ticket. Let's go ahead and add in floor 2 ticket. And if I go to my elevator buttons, we should see all of our previous elevator buttons. 6, 5, 4. 4 doesn't have one. Oh, that's because I see. That's because we don't want the lobby to disable. That's right. That's right, Gordon. Oh man, how was everybody's weekend though? What was the hardest part of your weekend, guys? Thomas, have you ever thought about teaming up with other developers? Where could they email you their work? Yeah, you won't be able to go back to a floor after you beat another floor. No, after, I'm sorry. Yeah, you won't be able to do it. It's locked. So yeah. Michael says good. Yeah, once you've beaten a floor, the previous one is donezo. Okay, well, there's ticket 2 and then there's ticket 1. So let's go ahead and hit play here and see if it works. What was the hardest part of your weekend, guys? Okay, let's insert floor ticket 2. Oh my word. We need to clear out the game manager. Or we need to clear out the saves. Something's not working properly. This was a real pain in the butt last week. Do you guys remember this? Or 2 weeks ago? How was Disney? Did you get any inspiration from it? Yeah, plenty of inspiration, but that's already sort of been applied to the game. I love Disney a lot. It was super busy this when I went, guys. Like really busy. Okay, so I believe that's ticket 1. Let's put that in. So that works. And then ticket 2. Put that in. I can't for some reason. There we go. But it didn't do it to 1 here. Isn't that strange, guys? For some reason it doesn't work here. What's its animator at? Activated is good. What if I set it to completed? It's so strange. So completed is not being set, even though this should do it. So complete elevator button upon insert, complete button. Let's see what it is here. And it should say, I'm completing here. 1. And then we'll do I'm completing here 2. And then I'm completing 3. I'm here 3. I'm completing here 3. And what we're doing here is we're just trying to see, are we getting past the conditions? That's really all I'm looking for here. Yeah. All right. Did you go to California or Florida Disney? Well, there's Disney World and then there's Disneyland. And it was super busy. First one, enter it. Okay, that worked. This one, for some reason. Oh, GUIDs. 2. Okay, so this happened here. It should be setting the bull to completed. But for some reason it's not. If animator exists, that's animator. Set bull, completed, completed. What's completed? Oh. What's that value? It's a get set. So we need to set it to true. Right? I think that's what we want to do there. All right. Let's double check here. We're going to start again. I'm going to fix this here. Bing, bing. There we go. All right. So I think that'll solve it. What type of game are we working on? Gil, you can play the demo. It's called Twisted Tower. It's doing really well, actually. I'm excited to announce, well, I'll tell you the wishlist numbers maybe a couple months, because we're about to hit a cool milestone. Admittedly, wishlist numbers have slowed since Steamworks. I'm sorry, Steam Next Fest, but we're getting like 200 to 400 a day. Okay, let's try again. So we'll do this one first. Dude, I rode Mickey's Haunted Mansion. I just love that ride so much. Let that insert. There we go. So for some reason, it's not freaking completing that. It's driving me nuts. Foxite, thanks for streaming Twisted Tower. Thank you. Man, for some reason, it's not completing this one, but it should. Is the animator there? Does the animator exist? Let's see. No, it's right there. But for some reason, it's not completing. So it should be right here. Completed equals true. Isn't that strange, guys? Let's go ahead, clear the game manager, and I believe ticket 1, that one's good. We're going to go find floor 1 ticket. I'm sorry, floor 2 ticket, and I believe it's on floor 1. We want to copy this one because it has the exact GUID. Yeah, completed as a bull on there. There it is right here. That's floor 2 ticket. Let's go back to floor 0. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. All right, there's floor 2 ticket. So basically, what we need to do here is double check again. Okay, good. That exists. Yay. Once I insert this one, it doesn't play the animation for some reason. And it doesn't, that's so weird. Why doesn't it play the animation? I guess it can't. Oh, man. I did not expect this glitch to be so... This is why I need you, Gordon. Have I convinced you yet, buddy? It's not setting completed to true. Why is that? Animator.setBull completed. Set to true. That's so strange. No, we're getting there. Animator set bull completed is true. Yet for some reason it's not. Well, it doesn't matter if the first animation's playing or not. The Boolean is not getting ticked to true. You know? So I can't even figure it out. Because, I mean, it's not even firing the Boolean. We're setting it to true, you know? We had this issue last week. So I don't know, man. That's so strange. It doesn't matter as if I want to make sure that the Boolean is getting set to true, and for some reason it's not. It's this right here. This button here, Gordon, complete elevator button upon insert. It's completing number 4, which is that one. So it's pretty straightforward, you know. It just says, okay, if complete elevator upon insert, if that button exists, then complete the button. And there's the function, and it does all this, and then it sets it to completed equals true. So that's what's so strange about it. So for some reason, it's not doing it. Hey, Loyal. How are you? Let's debug the animator. Animator dot yeah. My animator should exist. Yeah, well, let's double check the ID. That's a good question. So that ID is 1, so it should say 1 when I insert it. Good. That's great, Loyal. Thanks for hanging out, guys. I know these haven't been the most exciting streams, working on an elevator panel. But yeah. So let's insert the first one here. Good. Okay. And then let's do this one. Now let's look at this complete button. That's fine, I guess. Yeah, let's double check here and enter this one. My ID is 1, and my game object is elevator button 4. Right there. And my ID is 1. Parameter completed does not exist. Really? What? Well, that's all we needed. Completed is right there. It's right there. And it says completed does not exist. It's 'cause I could not tell you. What? It says completed does not exist, but it's right there. What? It's right here. It's right there, guys. It says it doesn't exist, but it does exist. It's got a space in it. You mother effer. Oh, my word. Oh. I mean, that's fine, I guess. I guess that's fine. Good grief. That was the issue. All right, there's that. And then we insert this. It should just swap that to, there we go. And it still could be selected, which is a problem. But at least we know, yeah. So, basically we need to go ahead and say, look, I can only press the button if, yeah, here we go. We can only press it if we're activated, right? And so we just need to say is activated equals false. And hopefully that'll save on unload. Do you think it will, Gordon? So if we go to complete button, we just say activated equals false. Thomas, those debug.logs are so unprofessional. Well, get used to it. Get used to it. That is how I make games. I don't know how else to tell you this. We'll get rid of the debug.logs later. Gordon, would you fix bugs for me if I sold my soul to you? Okay, this should work, guys. All right, so if I insert another elevator card, it should make it so that I can't do anything with this. Yeah, but that should... It should do an error sound. Let's hear if we can hear it. You've already completed the floor. You've already completed the you've already completed the floor. I mean, that's honestly fine. It doesn't bother me too much. I think I should change it to like a yellow color though. No, there is something wrong. I actually, Gordon says, your soul is less valuable than money. I've been trying to get Gordon to help me with the project. He's a highly sought after, masculine, strong, wonderful man. But he's too cool for me. Okay, let's clear out all of our debugs. Actually, yes. So debugs are a problem. You really don't want them because they cause a little tiny little hiccup in the frame rate every time they're thrown. So you want to get rid of them once they're done. That's right. All right, Frank. All right, buddy. I hear ya. I've heard ya. You want me to use breakpoints. I got it. But I'm not going to. I'm sure it's wonderful. I don't really have time to figure out what you're talking about. Thomas, how could you be a game developer and not know how to do that? Well, that's just how it is. But I appreciate it. I really do. Appreciate the advice. Yep, so let's go ahead and make this error occur properly. So this is disabled. I believe it. No. Press error. It's sort of, yeah. So for some reason, the base color here, that's a greenish color. I want it to be a yellow or red color. So what we'll do, completed will be like a yellow color. There we go. Like that. A little bit orange, though. Yeah. Son of a... All right. All right. That's a good error. And by the way, guys, this kind of like having feedback like this, the right colors, the right icons, everything, it's so important. Like this right here. Having that little arrow says this is your current floor. Like it's tiny little things like this that are so important for the game. Yellow and it's not green because it's like it's available, but you're not there. Lots and lots of little tiny things here.
You did it!
Why is that freaking green? Hold on. Where's it going? Let's see. That's elevator button 4. Completed. That really shouldn't loop. Why is that looping? Because from any state. And can transition to self. Turn that off. Whoops. Yeah, let's turn that off and let's go back in time here. Not gonna lie, Twisted Tower came out better than expected. You're telling me, Gil. I'll be completely honest with all of you. You know, this is my 3rd commercial release. Definitely the biggest project. It's my first 3D game, my first horror game, my first-person shooter. A lot of first times. First time working with a team that I'm paying myself. It has been such a learning experience, and I really did not expect people to like the demo. I'm completely honest. I thought people were gonna hate it. I really did. Okay, that works. Dang it, Thomas, why did you press that? Yeah, it's game feel. It's also like feedback, Gil. It's like yeah. It's giving the player, I think you're talking about the panel, right? It's just giving the player everything that they need to know what's going on.
You did it!
Okay. That's good. But what state is it going to turn freaking green? Hang on. That's button going. Why? Because activated is true. We want to make activated false. Thomas is so smart, he's always winning the game. He's the best game dev that we've ever seen to date. So activated equals false. Completed equals true. Activated equals false. My hope and my dream is that this saves, that all of this saves. But we'll see. If Thomas goes to Unreal Engine, I'll work for him for free. Still not worth it. Still not worth it. Why? Thomas, but Unreal Engine is better. Well, I'm sure, you know, simplified Chinese is better than English. Yet, I'm sticking with English just because it's what I know. Can't teach an old dog new tricks, right?
You did it!
That's fine with me. It's not the best thing ever. I kind of feel like I need to make it so that it deactivates or something. The 1 there. You know, I really don't even want the player to be able to press it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, look, if we're completed, it's false. You can do it. Otherwise, nothing. No. So let's try again. Hello, Hom. You care about your games, so that's better than most developers. I am a good person. I am really great. Everything I do is great. I care about my games and nobody else does. You know, what can I say? It's just what I was just born with it, you know? I'm just so different. Gordon Arbor says releasing games is better than doing things perfect. The engine you choose 100% of the time. I agree with old Gordon. Mr. Scragglebeard. We're gonna try it one more time, baby.
You did it!
You did it! And then this one here.
You did it!
That's fine enough for me. Floor is beaten, unbeaten, current floor. I really feel like, I mean, it should not even be able to play that error song. That error, what am I trying to say? That error sound. So let's double check something here. If this is the press go sound, there's also a sound playing right here. There's the error sound, okay? So why is a sound playing, you know? I don't know. I couldn't tell you, but it's not, to me, it's not worth my time. I'd rather move on. Let's just double check that this all saves properly. So what we're gonna do, and by the way, those of you just joining us, for those of you just joining us, just remember that you can join Full-Time Game Dev below for 40% off for the spring sale. I believe there's something around 97 seats, 98 seats left. These will sell out. These do sell out. This is actual. This is real. I know there's a lot of people who are like, Thomas sells courses and he says that he has limited seats, but it's not true. No, it's true. There are 100 seats left and they will sell out. And I do these big sale events quarterly or seasonally, really. So they don't happen all the time. These big ones, 40% off. You also get 2D and 3D Art Pro completely free, which is, 2D and 3D art courses that are taught by actual indie game dev, which is really, really cool. That's what makes my courses unique. That's why they're more premium, because they're taught by an actual indie game dev in the trenches making games. For some reason you can't see it, and that's a problem. So anyway, let's go to floor 2 here. Actually, crap. What am I gonna do here, guys? We need to make sure that the demo, we need to make sure this is no longer a demo build. So let me go to the game manager variant and turn off is demo. I think you wrote this code, Gordon. Maybe not. Yeah, no, Gordon, I think you wrote this code, dude. Okay. Anyway, let's go ahead and check to see if everything saves properly and make sure we add our build settings, because there's new floors here that we need to go to. Ooh, I'm getting excited. Oh, I just got butterflies. Basically, I'm excited because the demo has been officially released. We're good to go. We got a ton of wish lists from it. Great reviews. People think it's the greatest game ever made. Now I'm getting butterflies because I'm moving forward. I'm moving into the next chapters after these few edits here. Anyway, we'll move forward away from this stupid elevator just a sec, guys. Okay. All right, we beat floor 1. Yay. Now we beat floor 1. Now floor 2 is the next one. So let's go to floor 2. For those of you who played the demo, you've never seen Floor 2, have you? If I like the code, you wrote it, Gordon. If I don't like the code, you didn't write it. Got it. Okay, so is it saved? Mother... Didn't save. Oh, Lord God, save me from this hell. Make me feel your joy. Make me feel your peace. Lord God, save me from this hell. Save me from this hell. So we need to load the state, and there's completed right here. So we need to like set the completed value. Yes. Yeah. So this right here, the saved state of activated. I believe these booleans aren't being set properly. Let's see here. Yeah, they're not. It's just setting the animator values. Yeah, good. We just did it. That's it. That should do it. And that's why this was proper, but this was not. So it was deactivated, but it wasn't completed, and that's because that was not there. Thomas, have you seen Heretic yet? Super good movie. Mike Jemmy, I have not. You know what I've been doing, guys? I want to talk to you about this. I've been reading Brandon Sanderson. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? Gordon is stirring up stuff in the chat. Okay, so let's go to floor 2 here and double check. Oh, that didn't even work. Cracker Jacks. Hang on. No, I'm not reading Mistborn. I'm reading the Stormlight Archive. It's amazing. It's one of the best books I've ever read. It's one of the best books I've ever read. Not ridden. It's not a bike. We're almost done with this, guys. I promise.
You did it!
Yeah. So I'm reading the obviously Way of Kings. So good. I'm so happy. We should probably also fix that as well. The reason why it's not inserting, I think it's because the mesh is being disabled for some reason. I heard Mistborn is awesome. Have I watched the 8-Bit Ryan video about your game? Yes, I was walking through Magic Kingdom when I saw, or no, it was Animal Kingdom, and I was like, I looked at my phone, I saw he played it, I was so excited. Okay, let's go to floor 2. Yeah, Wilbert, the Bridge Crew stuff is super, super cool. Gordon, we're talking about reading Brandon Sanderson books. Son of a... Why? What we need to do here is we need to say, if it's completed, then do this crap, right? If it's completed, do all this. So we need to basically go up to here in the load state, setup button. Yes, setup button here. And we say, yes, got it. Good, Thomas. Oh, yes, you have figured it out. Set bool, if completed. No, we're going to set the bool to what it is, right? Yay. So that should do it. I'm getting BioShock vibes from Twisted Tower. Yep. I'm a thief. Oh, Gordon, you and Gil are getting into it. You're getting into a nasty little spat. The legend of Gordon and Gil begins. Gil, the ultimate shard-bearing Unity or Unreal developer, challenges Gordon, the what do you call it? The Bridge Crew 4 servant with no shard plate, no shard blade, but the will and the power and the strength. I'm trying to build a narrative here. I've been practicing building narratives, and I'm not very good at it. And the power and the will to prove Gil wrong. And I gotta say, when it comes to a David and Goliath story, I always feel like Unity developers are the David. I don't know why. I just feel like Unreal is obviously better, but it's better. It's just a bigger, better engine. But I'm rooting for Unity, not because of the corporate BS, but just because I like the engine. All right, let's see if this works. This has been the most boring live stream of my life.
You did it!
That's right, Jason. Godot is definitely David. Godot is just a different beast entirely. That's what I said. Hey, Thomas, you win! Okay, good. So we can no longer go to floor 1 ever again. Thank God. So that's official. And I want to thank Felipe. Felipe is the level designer and 3D artist who was previously on the project last year. He's no longer with the project. Just because he wrapped up his work and we also had budget cuts. But his advice was just lock the floors, dude. There's no reason to be able to let them go back. Yeah. Edwin, it's not your fault. I'm saying I'm not entertaining you enough. This is quite the boring stream. Guys, I'm getting my full sleeve done in 2 or 3 weeks. It's gonna be super. Although after reading some of Way of Kings, I'm tempted to get a full Kaladin tattoo. Yeah. All right. There's no purpose to go back, though. That's the thing. You guys know this. I'm all about, with indie game dev, I'm all about simplifying and cutting and simplifying and cutting and simplifying and cutting. Brandon Sanderson, back to Brandon Sanderson, he talks about this when it comes to world building. It's like there's no reason to give world building stuff in your story and fill it with world building bloat if it doesn't serve the story. So it's called world building in service of story. The same is true with features in service of the genre. So it's like, do you really need to go back to a previous floor? Does it serve the genre at all? No. Does it serve the story? No. Get rid of it. Okay. Am I reading for a future project? I am thinking about doing fantasy for my next game, yes. But mainly I'm just inspired by Brandon Sanderson. I love Brandon Sanderson because he's also a Mormon. I believe he's a Mormon. And I love his sort of religious, he talks a lot about leaning into your forte when it comes to telling stories. His stories, at least from what I'm reading, have a ton of religious world building. And I'm so fascinated by that. If there's any religion that is phenomenal when it comes to fantasy world building, it's the what? What religion? What religion is best? There's actually number one, and then there's number two. Number one, who can guess it? If you want to have a religion that makes you the best fantasy writer and sci-fi writer, what religion is it? Who knows? You can do it. I promise. You can do it. What is the best religion? If you wanted to be a fantasy writer, which religion would you be? Nope. I would say Anchor. I kind of feel like Hindu would be good for like epics. Nope, not Christianity. Wrong. Islam? Nope, wrong. Yes, Loyal Mussy gets it correct. Can we really, guys, argue with Loyal Mussy? Really? That's the best one. Like, that one is going to give you everything you need. 1000%. Nordic, I mean, maybe for, like, I don't think so. I think maybe for, like, mythology, if you were to write a mythological piece or an epic, Satanism, no, I think Scientology. Number two is, for me, in my opinion, it's Mormonism. There's just so much, it feels fantastical when you read like Mormon theology. I'm not arguing with it, although I would. But right now I'm not arguing with it. I'm just saying it has that flavor and flair, very similar to like fantasy. Correct, Loyal. Correct. Okay, what's the next thing? Is there anything I could do in this live stream that doesn't involve spoiling things for you guys? Let me look at my task list. I'm glad I got that done. I could really go for a Zin right now. Let's see here. Brushism. I think I want to start a religion. Just that's why I'm really interested in writing fantasy, and I'm interested in fantasy altogether because you get a free pass to be completely absurd. You can create all the coolest religions. You can create new science, new worlds, new plants, new cultures, new technology, new economic systems, new cultural standards. You can do all of it for free without any justification. With fantasy, I'm fascinated by fantasy mixed with drama or like horror. So you kind of mix all three. I kind of feel like that's what Tim Burton does. He mixes fables and drama and horror. He kind of mixes those. I'm really interested in the idea of writing a story that is fantasy in a modern world. Now, obviously, I'm not making this up. Like, it's not like it's fresh. I've just never seen something like it. But like fantasy in a modern world wrapped in a horror flavor. Anyway, let's go and see what our other bugs we have to fix are. Gordon says there's a lot of fantasy that came from Christianity. I wonder if you just know it so well it doesn't feel fantastic. I didn't say it. I did not say Christianity isn't fantastical. As a Christian, I'll be the first one to admit. Like I always find it funny when people say, how could that person believe in Islam? That there's these crazy ideas, or this crazy thing, or it's so weird. Or they'll say it about Scientology, or they'll say it about Mormonism. Oh, it's so weird. And I'm like, well, like there's a ton of weird stuff in Christianity as well. Granted, I choose Christianity and I believe that one's correct. I really like Christianity. It makes the most sense to me. But yeah, like every religion is strange. But of course, the world is strange. It's so funny how once we write it down and it turns into some sort of proven scientific theory, it's no longer weird. This is no longer weird. Yet, when there's an intuition or a sense and a smell for something, when a culture smells God, or they feel like, who was saying it? It was someone who was saying it's like an infant wrapped in the womb, and the twin is saying, the twin says to the other twin, there's two twins in a womb, and one twin is like, what do you think of, maybe we're in a mother. Maybe mother surrounds us. And the other twin's like, there's no proof for that. Why has nobody come back to tell us this? And is there life after birth? No, there's no proof. But the other twin is like, yeah, but I just feel like that's true. Like, I just feel it. I think the same is true with religion and God. It's like, it just feels like it. But then again, there's a lot of people who say that they don't feel it. So it's a mystery. It is a mystery. Okay, what am I doing? Well, I'm talking about religion. That's what I'm doing. We're not going to be making games anymore. We're going to talk religion. I guess I could fix the jump scare door on floor 1. There's a glitch with that one. Allow player to turn off all bloom. Nah, I don't really want to work on that right now. I'm sorry, I'm looking at my stuff here, guys. Add turrets. I really do need to do that. I just don't want to show you guys too much of the game. Gordon, I really want you to do this one. Have I tempted you yet, Gordon? Yeah, a lot of people, they're like, why do you believe in Christianity if it's not proven to you, Thomas? And I'm like, no, it's not. It's not. I will say, I honestly, why is it wrong to believe something that isn't 100% proven to you? I know that sounds offensive or strange to say, but it's like, I'm going to die. I'm going to die. I'm going to be buried in the ground. I'm going to turn to dust. So I'm just going to believe what I want to believe. So I don't care. It's like, there's so many people who just don't want to choose something. And so they just live in a murky gray. And it's like, well, everything's going to be murky gray. That's life. Life is gray and blurry and foggy. So just pick something and believe it. Man, that's probably the worst argument for my faith I've ever made. But I'm just telling you, that's how I feel. The older I get, I'm like, I don't care. I'm just going to believe fully. I'm going to believe fully in Jesus. And that's that. Well, the Shroud of Turin is really interesting, though. The Shroud of Turin is really interesting, though. And I was saying this years ago until all the news came out about it. I've been saying, that's weird. That's weird. And then it's starting to come out that it truly is as old as Christ. I guess we could just go ahead and I guess we could start distributing turrets. Is it possible for me to turn off textures so that you guys can't see too much? You know? Let's see here. Look at all these overlaps I can do. Wait. Oh, good. Oh, yes. Okay. All right, guys. Well, when do we want turrets to... Did I start a firestorm in the chat? Hang on. Sang Juan says, why did we start talking about Christianity? Sang Juan, I'm not sure you've been in my previous streams. We always sort of end up here. Hom hates it. Jason Story says, I respect it if you have proof. You don't need belief. Belief is the work, the capacity for faith. The Shroud also has crazy studies on the blood of Christ because genetically they can find a mother but no father. Really, Dane? Boy, that sounds like misinformation to me. Let's double check it. Let's ask Grok. Let's go ask Grok. Let's see what Grok has to say. I know a lot of you hate Grok. Let's see here. Does the Shroud of Turin have data about the blood and there being no father? For those of you who don't know, the Shroud of Turin is basically a negative of something that looks exactly like Christ. It looks like a photograph of Christ, and it's a shroud. It's a burial shroud. So the idea is that Christ's resurrection emitted radiation and light, boom, and that prints a photo negative onto this shroud, and the shroud has a crown of thorns. It has the blood in the hands. It has the wound at the side, the side being stabbed with blood coming out. It has the face of a Jewish man, and it dates back to that area. I don't know, and the fibers come from that area as well. At least where the Bible says he was crucified, and it dates back to the exact time that the crucifixion would have occurred. So it's the reason why Christians they don't use it. I don't think any Christians I know use the Shroud of Turin as proof of or proof or a proof of their faith. I would never. In fact, I don't even try to argue that stuff anymore. I just look at. I mean, this Christ says, "Look at the fruit." So he says, "Look at the fruit of look at the fruit of people's lives." That's the best metric as to whether Christ is in them or not. So I'm like, well, just look at people's fruit. Look at the people around you. On average, do people who truly love God and love Christ, does their fruit reflect it? Do they have fruit in their life? Fruit being joy, peace, patience, kindness, self-control. If so, that's the proof, which I know does not satisfy a lot of people, and I completely understand it. Okay, the Shroud of Turin, a linen cloth bearing the image of a man. Some believe it. Here's what the research says about the blood. Scientific studies say it's human blood. It has hemoglobin, serum. Okay, so it's blood. It's AB. The question of whether the shroud provides evidence of no father, potentially supporting the Christian belief of the virgin birth, relates to DNA analysis. However, there's no conclusive data on this. In 2015, a team led by blah, 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 they said the shroud they found mitochondrial DNA passed from the mother from multiple individuals, likely due to contamination. The study identified various haplogroups, but it did not isolate a single individual's DNA. Lack of Y chromosome evidence. No definitive studies has isolated Y chromosome DNA. Claims of no father would require pristine, uncontaminated DNA showing only maternal contribution. Something that would be so freaking interesting. Would that not be that would be so crazy if God was like, hey, I'm going to give you a photograph of me, and this photograph is going to be taken at the start of the Western calendar. Is it the Western calendar? It's really the global calendar, isn't it? I mean, I know there's a Chinese calendar. And it's going to be the exact image. It's going to be the first photograph ever taken. And it's going to be the exact image of my face, of God's face. at zero. I'm sorry, not 0 AD. What is it, 32 AD or whatever? And also, it's going to have all of the exact imprints of blood, of the crucifixion, and also the DNA is going to prove the virgin birth. Would that not be crazy? That would be the weirdest, most craziest thing. Let's see here. Challenges, interpretation, contamination. The shroud has been touched by countless people, so blah, blah, blah. It's really hard to know. Most scientists view the shroud as a historic artifact, not a definitive record of genetic information. This was the radiocarbon dating that was considered to be wrong. It was correct. It was considered correct in the 90s, early 2000s, but recently they said no. Actually, I think this is the study. No, actually, it is old because this one said it wasn't. See, look, it placed the origin at 1260 to 1390, and suggesting that it was medieval creation. But this was contested by recent studies. That's me saying it, not Grok. They lean heavily on theological interpretation rather than empirical data. It's just so interesting. It's just so interesting. It feels so miraculous and serendipitous if it actually is, like, if it actually contains all this data. To me, it's just wild. It would just be so wild. Okay, let's go. Back to placing turrets. Isn't that weird? Look at this. Okay, okay, so did you see the scroll found of something Jesus, peace be upon him, said that the Quran said he said there? What? Tuckmac says, did you see that scroll found of something Jesus, peace be upon him, said that the Quran said he said, but there's never proof until we just found that scroll. Wow. I have no idea what you're saying, Tuckmac. Okay, let's go to floor. We're going to go to floor -1 and introduce cannons on floor -1. How's that sound? In fact, I actually believe there's turrets here, and I can just replace the turrets. That might work. Well, let's try it. Lots of people tried to claim it was fake, but the main reason is because they found it hard to believe. This is from Dane. Anyways, wish I could talk more, but I have work to do. I don't think Jesus would have only had his mother. This is from the Hemoshin Project. It's funny how, by the way, side note, it's funny how people don't like to talk about Jesus. It's like, he's very famous. Like, the whole world hinges on Jesus. Now, granted, it hinges on the Abrahamic faith, which Christianity, it mounts itself onto it, but also Islam, the three main religions. But Jesus is sort of, he's in the middle of all of it, you know? He's like in the middle of everything. He's in the middle of governments. He's in the middle of all these religions. He's just always there. It's like, I can't get this guy out of here. And I just find that so interesting. He's like he's either oxygen or like a cancer. And he's just in everything. You can't get him out of living things. He's just always there. And I find that so interesting. Cinemart says Drake is always famous. Well, what you're telling me is you're saying, Thomas, don't use the argument of crowds. Is that what it's called? Just because someone's famous doesn't mean they're right. But you can say that if something is consistently accepted and that it's over thousands of years is consistently accepted and grappled with and struggled with, and it inflames people and it frustrates people, what you can say is not that it's right. You can say, though, it's powerful. And that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it's correct. I'm saying it's powerful. There's something there, and I don't know what it is. Well, I know what it is, but I can't prove to you what it is. Does that make sense? Okay, let's go ahead and take a look and see if we've got any turrets here. Oh, good, we've got some turrets. And we also got turret homing here. I can't see them for some reason. Let's double check. Shaded. He's right there. But for some reason, he's not there. That's because turret homing is disabled. We have all this. Okay. Okay. So I see we have turret homing, and we need to replace turret homing with the turret cannon. So we're going to replace this with the new cannon. Where is it? Here it is. Ding! Replace. Oh, and it's perfect, baby. That's so nice. It just fits right in. Okay, so we have our turret cannons. The turret enemy, I believe, is that one that we just did. Yeah. So it's just the turret cannons. So all I really need to do is go through all of our turret cannons. We also have this. Okay, yeah. That's great, guys. Floor -2. Let's move on. What do we got here? By the way, guys, don't feel bad for arguing or saying anything against what I'm saying. It's one of my favorite things to do. I could sit with you for 60 years and just talk about religion and Christ and the Quran and theology and evolution and politics. I love it all so much. I think that it's so twisted that we don't want to talk about this stuff with each other, and that we tell each other not to talk about it at the dinner table, where it's like, what else should we talk about? Like, those are the things that are so important. The reason we get angry is because they're important. So that's okay. Now, you probably shouldn't get angry about it, but it's important. Does that make sense? It's such a strange, bizarre, backwards, perverted way of talking about social issues. It's like, social issues should not be discussed, but you could talk about football. What? No, flip it around. Social issues, religion, politics. Talk about it. It's okay. You don't have to get so mad. All current religions have their origin in older religions. How dare you say that, Gax? Oh, so offensive. I am just sick of this. Okay. So we need to generate some GUIDs for these turrets. Thank God that they're not in the demo build. So we're going to generate, because they would be overridden. So let's generate those. Got them. Moving on to floor -3. Oh, that was floor -2. Wait, no, that's floor negative. Yeah, we're good. This is from Mike Jemmy. I think the people who get angry about it are likely the people who need to talk about it the most. That's exactly right. I have so many friends where everyone's on a different side of the political aisle, and we have had heated conversations in the past. I have friends who are, a lot of friends, especially in the game dev industry, who are atheists. I have friends who are Mormon. I have friends who are, let's think here, maybe Buddhist, I'm not sure, and Hindu, Muslim. But, and this is what's so funny, people think, they say, you can only argue about it in a peaceful way if we all just say that everyone's right. Yes, let's talk about it because everyone's right. And I'm like, no, you can still believe something's right and believe it fully, like objectively true, and still be peaceful with people. That's okay. That's being a human. I think that most people who say that they're okay with everything being true, deep down, they actually do have a belief in what's true deep in their subconscious that they cling to. but their mouth says they don't care. I think everybody deep down has beliefs. It's impossible not to. And the trick is when it comes to society and having friends with different beliefs, the trick is to not be so freaking offended. Enjoy conversation. It's okay. It's okay that people disagree with you, and it's okay that you have opinions. These are the spices of life. All right, let's save this and move on to floor -2. The only conversation banned at my dinner table is other people's holiday photos. I don't care that you stood beside a famous monument. Okay, here we go. Let's move on to the turrets, guys. Oh my goodness gracious, we have a ton of homing turrets on floor -2, which is awesome. Thank you, Felipe, for placing these. All I got to do is replace them with the new cannon. Bing! Oh, it's right here, baby. It looks great. Okay, good. Oh, bing! He's right here too. And he'll work great. Oh, I love it. Very true, Thomas. Very true, said Daniel. Anybody just hate what I'm saying? I don't think what I'm saying is too. Tugmac says, I'd love to hop on a call and debate you, Thomas. I got 3 good questions for you. Okay, Tugmac, give me your first one. All right. Moving on to let's go to floor 3. I don't want to show too much of the game, but we're going to move forward. By the way, if you haven't checked out Full-Time Game Dev below, you can get 40% off for the next 14 days. 40% off plus 2D Art Pro plus 3D Art Pro. But Thomas, it's always on sale. Well, there's always a 25% off coupon. If you click on it, you have 5 days to use the coupon, then it expires. So it's a personalized 25% off coupon like we did last week. This sale, though, this is seasonal. Okay, so I do seasonal sales. They last for 14 days. Okay. Let's see here. Chris, Thomas, when I first found your channel, I thought you were a course shill. But I am a course shill, Chris. But after a while of understanding your stance on game dev and the world as a person, I've completely shifted my perspective. That's awesome. I do sell courses, I sell premium courses. And I make good money doing it. And I'm completely unashamed of it. It's totally fine to sell knowledge. I have no issues with it. If I put together a massive course for people and I spend $25,000 creating a course and it's a ton of work, I have no issue selling that course. None at all. That's just life. Now, I would never, ever sell a course. Man, I would never sell a course if I was a fraud. Like if I didn't know what I was talking about and I didn't actually make money making games and I didn't work with publishers and I hadn't signed deals and I hadn't done a Kickstarter campaign and I hadn't hit the Steam front page and I didn't know how to make a good game, I would not be selling courses. There are people who do that. That to me is a grifting shill. So, yeah. Replace. Ding, ding, ding. We got the turret cannons. Okay, and then we also have the turret homing. Oh my goodness, we have a lot of them. Okay, I think we've got them all replaced. Good. Let's go to the turret homing. What else? We got any other debates in here? Tugmac says, one question takes some setup with a scenario. It's a brain twister, but boiled down, it's a question about inherent good. Okay, Tugmac, go. Give it to me. Give it to me. And I will tell you, if I can't answer it correctly, I'll get mad. I will get angry at you. How dare you? How dare you ask me a good question? I love I love theological mind-bending questions. That's what this tattoo is here. It says, did he who make the lamb make thee? And that's a William Blake poem. I think that's the tiger. And it's basically, did he who made Christ, did he who made love, grace, kindness, did he also make the tiger being Satan, evil? did God really make that? Or is Satan the absence of good, which is the absence of God? Well, even the concept of absence is created, right? So that's a really fun question too. So it's just a question, you know. In fact, I just struggle with the idea that things can't be created. Unless they're outside of our paradigm, then it makes sense. So like people always say, who created God? And it's like, well, the whole point of God is that he's not created. Like, it's like, that's like saying, who created the thing that isn't created? Oh, gotcha. And it's like, no. When people say God, they mean, what is the thing? What is the I am? What is the infinite present, future, and past? The thing, the system, the server that holds the third dimension. That is God. So if that is the definition of God, the argument that God was created doesn't make sense. All right, there's a turret. What is this is turret homing. I don't have any homing missiles, homing cannons, so we're just going to do turret cannon. Good. So there's one there. Is there a reason he's there? Yeah, okay. We'll put him up here. Right here. So we'll do negative 180. Okay, Tugmac, did you give it to me? Okay, Tugmac has yet to give me his setup. I want to hear it. Seriously. I promise I won't get mad. I would love to hear it. So that one, I don't know why he's there. But I feel like I want to put him... I feel like I want to put him up here or something. Like right here. Ding! Like this. I've been told it's the creator's fault. I think that's rude, though, because God doesn't force you to choose. Satan chooses to be evil. God didn't program it to be evil. This makes no sense. One of the most interesting arguments for... It doesn't really work, though. I'll be the first to admit it doesn't really work. One of the interesting ideas... People like to say that God doesn't allow... well, evil exists because of free will, and without free will, you can't have love. Now, do we agree with that? First off, do we agree with that? What would you call it? Premise. Do we agree that if you're forced to love somebody, it's not love? So, in order for love to exist, you have to have free will. Like, in order for human beings to exist within the context and the paradigm of love, they have to have free will. Because you can't be forced to love, because that is the opposite of love. Like, do we agree with that premise? So that's the first premise. The second, say yes or no. And then the second thing is well, okay, if human beings necessarily need free will to engage in love, then you're also going to get the absence of love, which is hate and pain. And the problem with that, just hate and evil and selfishness and pride and greed, all the things that are the absence of love. So that's what Christians tend to say. Well, that's why evil exists. And you go, okay, well, that's why evil exists, but why does pain and disease exist? To Alex O'Connor's point, why is it that when a deer gets hit by a car and he breaks his leg and he suffers and dies and starves to death for 7 days straight next to a riverbed, alone in the middle of the woods, why is it that that happens? And the only answer a Christian can have is something kind of magical, which is, well, with the absence of love is sin, and sin creates disease and death. So disease and death are a result of sin, which is what the Bible says. Granted, I've never heard a Christian argue the mathematics of that, right? It doesn't really make a ton of mathematical sense. So I don't understand the equation there. So it's kind of magical. So I don't want to hear someone give some profound explanation as to why evil and pain exist in a world created by a good God. Because I don't know. I don't know. Okay, so that's good right there, right? We're making a lot of progress today on theological discussions. The absence of love is apathy. Hate is the opposite of love. Maybe, I guess. Maybe. You might be right. He can't be benevolent if excess pain exists. That's like a dog saying, that's like a dog saying, the United States government doesn't exist because I don't understand it. Right? So we can't just say a good God cannot exist if pain exists. Boom, done. That's not, it doesn't work like that because he's a fourth dimensional, fifth dimensional. He's an infinitely dimensional being, at least per the definition of people who are religious. And so if he's infinitely dimensional, you can't pin him down like that. Yeah, David, that's a great question. Seriously, David's got a great question. So was the deer sinful? And that's why I said the Christian explanation is magical. It's saying sin permeates everything like a disease. That's the only explanation that I've seen in the Christian perspective. In Islam, it's up to us to figure out disease and disaster. We have to confront our hubris. Our purpose in life is to pursue knowledge and understanding and realize eventually we can never understand. Okay? Well, I'm not sure if that says anything. I mean, that's just, it's kind of a poetic statement, but I'm not quite sure what it means. Mr. Fish says, I think O'Connor's point was that sin tacitly has intentionality behind it that the deer disease doesn't have. Right, exactly. And that's the thing is I agree with O'Connor's objection to the Christian argument that, well, sin is just the absence of love, and you need sin basically because of free will. And if you want love, you need free will, and you necessarily have sin, therefore sin causes pain. And it's like, well, the only thing that works is that sin exudes a almost magical disease, like a Brandon Sanderson novel, where it's like spreading through the world, and it just causes pain. Which that's what I believe. I'm just saying I can be the first to admit it doesn't make mechanical sense. Does that make sense? Okay, so we've got all of our turrets here. All right. I gotta generate some GUIDs. Oh my goodness, we had 16 to generate. We got a bunch of cannons. This is good. This is good. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Everything needs an impulse or an impetus unless it's outside of nature's laws. If an atheist said that, and I know a lot of you are atheists in the chat, and I love you. If an atheist is willing to say that, if they're willing to say, there's something else that was the impetus for the Big Bang, or the impetus for this universe's just initiation, and it's outside of this dimension, then I'm like, wait, I think we're on the same page, at least on a very abstract level. Josh says, in the deer example, the sin would come from the driver. There is not always an origin of sin, though. For example, if a deer trips and falls and impales his leg on a stick in the middle of Nebraska, which, by the way, is probably happening right now, because there's that many deer, there's no sin there. So, as a Christian, it's important for Christians to admit they can't answer it other than saying there's something magical there. There's something magical. It's like Spren. Don't you love this stuff, Josh? And Tuckmac, Atheists believe there. This is from Tuckmac. Atheists believe there was a start to the universe, but don't know what started it. Well, Tuckmac, what my point is that I'm fine with them saying that as long as they can say, well, there needs to be something else outside of the system, outside of this dimension that was the causation. It just needs to be. It needs to be extra dimensional. I think that's the only thing that I feel like I need in the argument. Is it extra dimensional? If it's extra dimensional, then boom, we're good. We can agree. And we'll agree to disagree that Jesus is God. And that God is extra, that my definition of God is completely different than yours. We can agree that that's different. But an extra dimensional start or awake function or something that creates it, to me, is kind of necessary. Oh, Josh is throwing down the book of Job. I love that. All right, we've got all these turret cannons, but for some reason their GUIDs are all screwy. Hold on, let's see here. Yeah, look at that. The GUIDs, we gotta search for duplicates. Solve GUID. There we go. 22. Oh, Mary. We've got 22 duplicated GUIDs. We need to go to floor 2 and fix it because we didn't know that. No one created God. Tuckback says, who is Jesus talking to in Gethsemane when he asked for God to take his cup? Okay, give me the verse. Who was Jesus talking to in Gethsemane when he asked for God to take his cup? Oh, you're arguing for the lack of divinity of Christ. Oh, man, there's a ton of verses where Jesus separates himself from the Father. Like, you could throw out a ton of those. I mean, he blatantly says that they're separate. But he also says, I am. Could it be that the Trinity is separate but equal? That it's the same and it's not the same? What do they call that? Superposition? Could it be? Could it be that God is fully God and fully man? All right. Let's go ahead and duplicate our GUIDs. Solve GUI duplication. We've got 3 of them. Yay. Well, that's not good. We don't want the elevator to have a new GUID. I guess it doesn't matter. Yeah, that does matter, actually. Let's go to our elevator and fix that. Okay. Revert all. So it's this right here. That has a new GUID. So I'm going to revert that. The mesh renderer, we're going to keep that. I'm fine with that. Let's go to floor 3. We got to be really careful with our GUIDs here. Thomas, what is a GUID? It's a unique ID that's for game objects so that it can be saved. You can't save things unless there's some way to identify the object and put it into the save system. Gordon Arbor says, it proves it doesn't have to be your sin that caused the pain, but that wouldn't have happened to Job if sin didn't exist. Well, but yes, so Job's pain was initiated by not necessarily Satan, but some adversary. And that adversary initiates Job's pain, and then, but it was approved by God himself. So you've got God going, yeah, sure, go ahead, adversary, go screw up his life and cause pain and disease and all this stuff. So, I mean, I'm not sure what your point is, Gordon, but is the adversary, is the dark spiritual realm of evil, is it pushing the deer over the cliff and causing it to get hurt? Are we talking about religions of game dev? We could talk about the Last Testament, but let's just talk about game dev. No thanks. This is my stream. We'll talk about what I want. Solve GUI duplication for this one. No duplicates found. I will say, though, if we go to elevator, Come for game dev, stay for philosophical discussion. Oh my goodness. We have an elevator script here that's broken? Let's go to the elevator panel. Let's see what's different about this. Oh my goodness, we got a ton of weird stuff. The GUID is all changed. We got to revert this baby. This is not good. We're going to revert this whole thing. Revert all. I think we're okay. Floor 2. Game dev is an allegory of religion. It's 1,000%. There is nothing closer to God than game dev. I'm being completely serious, by the way. What I'm doing right now is literally what Genesis 1 and 2 described. Pretty close. Why does this have striped wallpapers? Revert all, no thank you. Ugh, this is gross. Let's go to floor 1 and double check the elevator here. We're getting some weird stuff with the elevator prefabs. Don't trust me to make a planet yet. Oh, we've got a weird arch here. That's fine. Looks like we don't have tons of changes here with this prefab, so I think we're okay. Let's go to floor -2 and see if there's any issues here. It's weird, this is from Tuck Mac. It's weird how humans inherently want to create things. Yeah, for sure. I totally agree. We just want to make stuff, you know? Well, we've got a bunch of changes here, and I'm not sure what they are. I would say potentially it's the GUIDs, and we really don't want that, so we're going to revert all those as well. And then we're going to go to floor -3. -1, I'm so sorry. We're going to revert these elevator changes as well. Thomas, do you have thoughts on my thoughts? This is from Jackson. Let's see what Jackson said. Interesting thought. If sin is doing what God doesn't want you to do, and we can only do it because of free will, which he gave us, then he created a system that allows sin. Yeah. 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 I have no problems with that. I don't even know. I don't think most evangelicals, Protestants, Catholics would disagree with that either. The system, yes, 100% allows for sin. I don't see how you get around that. Okay, let's revert these changes as well. No, we're good there. Okay. So that's good. Let's go to floor 4 now. Floor 4 is such a strange floor. I'm tempted to make all of the wallpaper of this level look like back rooms because it's like this strange like putt-putt course. I won't show you everything, but it's like a really strange putt-putt course, and I want it to feel really, really nauseating. To be completely honest, I want it to feel nauseating. What else we got here? I love talking religion. Just because we can doesn't mean we have to. Jackson, would you say it's possible for a human being to not do evil things? Is it in our DNA? This is a serious question, Jackson. And for all of you, is it possible, for those of you with a Christian, Islamic, or Jewish worldview, is it possible, and I guess any religion, is it possible for human beings to do everything perfect? Are we capable of it? Look at all this crap here that changed for the elevator. Oh my goodness. What? I see. Oh. Let's go to floor 3 and double check that. So it's not possible. So God is demanding perfection from something that can't be perfect. So his demands are unfair. So God's demands are unfair.
Let's solve for GUIDs. So God's demands are unfair because if you're not able to be perfect, then the Christian God is unfair. I want you to solve that. Tuckmac, if it's a short verse, just paste it in the chat. So only God can be perfect, yet he demands perfection from his creation. So somehow that's fair. By the way, I'm being devil's advocate. Yeah, we got a huge problem here, guys, which is like, we're generating all these GUIDs here for these freaking elevator, and I'm just like done with it. Do they really need their own GUIDs? I'm going to revert all of these. Yeah, revert selected. How's that? Ugh. This is all so gross. I hate this. Okay, that's reverted. This is such a problem though. Like if we go to floor 3, watch. Let's go to floor 3. God doesn't demand us to be perfect. It depends on what religion you follow, Majd. Majd, what religion are you? It's an elevator. Look, see? So this right here, all I really need to do, guys, actually, is I just need to change that out to this. That's all I need to do. So I don't think this is actually going to be a big pain. Just like this. There we go. That's about it. Do the disbelievers not realize that the heavens and earth were once, this is from Tuckmac, from the Quran. I think I said that right. Do the disbelievers not realize that the heavens and earth were once one mass when we split them apart? And we created from water every living thing. Will they then not believe? So, Tuckmac, I'm not sure what you're saying, but you're arguing from a place of authority that is, you have an authority in the Quran, I do not. So you can give me verses all you want. All I can say is, well, I just don't believe the Quran. I'm just saying that's what people would say. They'd read that and they would go, well, I don't believe the Quran, so what do you want me to do? What am I supposed to say? That's why I don't think it's good. I don't think it works to just throw out verses to people who aren't your religion. It doesn't work. Because it's not an authority for them, so they're not going to listen. Jay Stewart says, I'm trying to say that it was the idea of that Satan wanted to be the one with all the answers and thought his way would be the only way we'd follow. I'm not sure. Asai Dev says, because in the same instance you sin, you can repent for your actions. He knows what happened and he knows why we are the way we are and what we have to do to stay alive. Well, I can't get out of there. Hold on. Sherzrod says, hey, Thomas, please consider adding music to the background. We also work watching your streams. There's something called Spotify. You can open it up right now and turn on some of your own music. Majid Al-Sully says, I'm a Muslim and I think God doesn't demand us to be perfect. Context, illiterate man in his 40s being told by Gabriel about the Big Bang and evolution. Fun to think about. Not argue. Oh, you're just saying it's fun to think about, Tuckmac? That's cool. Yeah, that is cool. I like that. Well, no, we're not arguing with Tuckmac. I'm not arguing with you. I wasn't arguing with you. I was just saying I'm not sure what you're trying to say. But it's now that I understand what you're saying, it's mind bending. Yeah. I agree with you 100%. Okay, what am I doing? Well, we had this whole issue with all these different elevators. So we're going to start from the very beginning because I know for a fact I'm screwing up all the different elevators. So we're going to save everything and start back from the very beginning here and make sure all of our elevators are correct. We have this elevator here. Let's see what kind of overrides it has. The mesh render is the only thing. It also has this arc, and I'm not sure what that one is. If I revert it, what happens? Yeah, it's nothing. Okay, so floor 2. What I want, guys, I want the elevator to always be the same prefab, but I just want its mesh to be a little bit different. Okay, let's go to the elevator here. Good, okay. It's right here. That's not horrible, you know, I don't mind it. But I think it'd be best to take this wallpaper here and just drag it right there. That's the only change we need for this prefab here. Asahi Dev says, I picked up the Action Bible comic book. It covers everything. Guys, I'll tell you, for those of you who don't read the Bible, it seems so cringe. I get it. It's so cringe. But the older I get with kids and with a life and a family, it's just like the less and less cringe, and the more and more I'm like, holy crap, this is like the craziest thing I've ever read in my life. And everything in the world, even like an apple, feels less true than the Bible. It's weird. It's just weird. I don't think any religious text should be just thrown out. This is stupid. I think you need to look at stuff that's been alive for so long and you say, what is this? Like, why is this thing so alive? And it's been here for so long. Why is this thing in every hospital bed? In the drawer of every hotel? You know, it's just weird. It's just really interesting. And I think the West especially is so hungry for religion. And they find it in other things, like their political factions. They find it in social media. They find it in their software. They find it in their, like, Unity versus Godot versus Unreal. It's like, how about you just go, like, choose a religion and don't be so religious about your software. You know, people like to find religion in all sorts of things, and I think there's something there. I think that it means that people are religious in their nature. They crave to serve something. They crave to serve a community. They crave to be part of a community. They crave to understand why they're here. They crave all of that. And could it be that there's actually something to it? You know? Could it be that it's not just stupid? Or as Richard Dawkins would say, it's just a spaghetti monster in the sky? Could it be that it's way more than that? And that you should probably respect religion a little bit more, because maybe there's something there? I'm also not arguing for universalism, because I'm not a universalist. I'm saying if something is embedded in culture for thousands of years, perhaps there's more to it than it's just a fairy tale. Isn't this fun, guys? I know some of you are like, what are we doing in this stream? What is this? I get it. I understand. It's kind of weird. This has been a fun stream, though. But we were placing turrets. Guys, has anyone seen the new Snow White? Let's hear about your thoughts on the new Snow White. Go! And if you haven't seen it, you're not allowed to talk about it. That's the rule. If you haven't seen it, you're not allowed to talk about it. Let's start with the people who've seen it. How is it? Okay, so we have no cannons on floor 4 for some reason. I don't know why. Is this the old floor 4? Oh, there's no cannons because this level is the upside down golf course. And I think it would be annoying if there were cannons, maybe. So let's go to floor 5 here. All right, what we're doing is we're all hanging out, working on our projects. That's right. Let's see if there's any turrets on floor 5. Wow, there's no turrets on floor 5 or floor 6 or floor 4. So officially, we need to add turrets on floor. I'm not going to put turrets on floor. Oh man, this is going to be hard. We need to do machine guns. Dude, yes, Tuckmac, 1000%. Tuckmac says that shit about the pyramids that just came out is so freaking cool. I've been saying civilization had a massive reset about 12,000 years ago. Gordon Arbor says it's really interesting in your thoughts on Snow White, Thomas. Well, in the voice of Jordan Peter, no, I think that Snow White has a deeper meaning, and it's there's a reason why it's, again, it comes down to things like fables, things like mythology, things like epics, things like fantasy novels that have lasted for 100 years. It's things like biblical texts, even the Quran, even though I don't agree with it, where it's like there's a reason why that lasted so long. And so I get annoyed when Disney tries to remake the fable, when it's like, man, but the fable's so special the way it is. I think my dad was talking, or not my dad, my brother was talking about why Snow White was so special. It's about when a motherly figure comes in and cleans up broken men. That's what Snow White's all about. It's about this beautiful motherly figure who comes in and teaches the dwarves how to be mature and to grow up. And the same is true with Wendy in Peter Pan as well. And I don't know, it's like, why would you throw that out? You know? Let's go full Jungian. Yeah. That's from JNP. Yeah, I'm like, man, these stories are so special. Like Pinocchio, I liked the Del Toro Pinocchio, but I'm like, I'm not so sure that it clung to the themes correctly. But I understand if you want to screw up a story and play with it, sure, you know. But it's like, well, get ready for people not to like it. You know, they're not allowed to like it. So, floor 5, floor 6. Okay, so we need turrets. I'm going to start with turrets on floor 4. Okay. I guess I'm willing to let you guys see stuff with this level. It's really difficult though because it flips upside down, and so, man, I don't even know where to begin. So there's floor 5 and there's floor 5 flipped, which floor 5 flipped is, I believe, floor 5. So if we just put the turrets there, yeah, okay. So basically the flipped one is a duplicated prefab and it's upside down. So it just works really slow. So I don't want to see, let's do normal, gray. Okay. Let's go to it. It's really slow though because it's this massive level inside of a prefab. So what I'm going to do, okay, so this one's flipped. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put turrets. I'm just going to distribute turrets throughout floor 5. Man, this sucks though because why is it upside down by default? It should be upright. This is tough. Where are we going to put these turrets? Yeah, Tugmac says, basically is saying the Torah and the Bible are also the Word of God. Well, this is my struggle with that, Tugmac. I believe that the Quran and the Bible are contradictory. So that's my struggle. It's like, if they contradict each other, then how could they be from something perfect? Okay, so let's see. And I understand what your argument would be, which is Christ doesn't actually claim he's divine, blah, blah, blah. And my argument is, yes, he does. So, I don't understand how you can read what Jesus said in the Gospels and not come to the conclusion that he thinks he's divine. Okay. Well, let's do these freaking turrets. This is tough. My theory is just go ahead and... let's go to floor 5. My theory, the one that's not flipped. My theory is just put the turrets in cool spots and we'll tweak it later. I don't want to put them in the golf course sections. So we could do one like right there, but that you got to make sure. Let's start from the very beginning. A very good place to start. When you read, you begin with A, B, C. When you sing, you begin with Do, Re, Mi. Do, Re, Mi. The first 2 letters are Do, Re, Mi. Okay, I'm looking for a good spot to put the turret, okay? So chill. Right here? Yeah, I could put it here. That's cool. The first 2 notes are Do, Re, Mi, Do, Re, Mi. So then we're going to do an enemy machine gun. Jay Stewart says, the only thing I can say is that when Jesus' followers start to worship him, he asks them not to. He said only to the Father. Gordon, you know the answer to that one. Can you give me the scripture there? Gordon, you know this one. That's why you don't think he is God, but you do think he is Son. Asai says he is divine, but he's not the divine humans should worship. He's proof of God existing. God or Yahweh. Yahweh or Yahweh is the one we need to worship. Okay, let's go. We have a turret. Machine gun. We have a turret chain gun here that we're going to put on. Man, I've been moving slow today, guys. It's your fault. It's not my fault. You guys want to talk about this. Yeah, Tugmac, that's the argument that also Judaism argues, which is Jesus was amazing, he just wasn't God. So that is why, in my opinion, Jesus is very clearly states he is divine. And if he does that, then that man is that a disagreement with that's in direct it's not in conflict. It's not in conflict with the Old Testament, but it is in conflict with the Quran. So there's one turret. Well, Gordon, I don't know if that one works. Matthew 1:23, Jesus is called Emmanuel, which means God with us. I don't really know if that works. I mean, couldn't you say that David, in a way, was God with us? Couldn't you say that Joseph in the Old Testament was God with us? Couldn't you say that Moses was? But Gordon says, John 1:14, Jesus is the Word who was with God and who was God and who became flesh. The Jehovah's Witnesses have a different version of John 1:1, which is in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and he was a God. But Gordon, I do agree with that translation, which is, in the beginning was the Word, aka the architect, the coder. In the beginning was the coder, and the coder was with God, and he was God. Also, Jesus says, I am, which is why the Pharisees tried to stone him. He literally says, what does he say? Before Moses was, I am. It's not a grammatical slip of the tongue. All right, let's get to work here. What are we doing? We got to get to work, guys. Alex says, I'm curious how this topic started. It tends to happen during live streams. I'm religious, so it's just normal for me to talk about it. It's in my blood. I love talking about God and Christianity and religion, stuff like that. It's a lot of fun. Man, this is certainly slow moving though, because I think autosave, let's turn that off. I think that's why it's got so slow here. Yes, okay. Okie dokie, that's why. I was like, why is it so slow? It's because it's auto-saving the prefab. I do agree with you, Gordon, that we're spoiling too much here, so I'm going to at least turn the lighting off and turn on maybe let's see here. Man. Maybe we need to do like a wireframe, for now. Okay, so we got one chain gun there. Man, that's not going to work though. I want to learn, why is it important to you for Jesus to be God himself? Well, first off, it's not important to me. I think that's what scripture says. So if something says that and I believe that scripture is from the word of God, first off, that's what it says. So therefore you got to come to terms with it. Number two, why do I think it's important that Jesus is God? Well, the whole point of Christianity, that what Christians believe is they believe that sin separates you from God. Therefore, the only way to, be with God is to be perfect, and the only way to be perfect is to be cleaned. And the blood of a perfect lamb is the only way for it to be, for some reason the equation of salvation is something like the blood of something perfect. Something perfect is the only way to cleanse you, and so for something to be perfect, it needs to be divine. It needs to be perfect. And there's nothing that's perfect except for God. It's interesting though. I found this so interesting. A lot of people have trouble with the idea that why would God sacrifice his son? He's a psychopath. And it's really interesting because remember when Abraham takes Isaac up to the mountain and God says, okay, I want you to sacrifice your son. And let's continue down here. Abraham, how many of you have a son? Abraham was just broken and devastated that God told him to sacrifice his son. And Abraham would probably, how many of you agree with this, would rather die than sacrifice their own son, right? And so it's not that God is a psychopath for sacrificing his son. It's that it's the most painful thing for a loving entity to do, to give up its only firstborn son. There is nothing more painful than that. And so it's almost like God said, I want to show you how much I love you by giving you, or by giving up the most valuable treasure to me. Now, that doesn't work with me if the son is not as valuable as the father. It doesn't work for me. It makes sense that the sacrifice was painful to God if, in a sense, that entity was God himself. So he's equal in value, but he's also the Son. Does that make sense? How do you float around the scene like this in edit mode? No, you just press shift and then ASWD and you fly around. I like the turret here. Is this a what is this room? I've never been in this room actually. But I do like the idea of a turret being there. So that's fine. We're gonna do one there. I think that's good. Let's keep going through. Do you guys see what I'm not sure if it's too abstract, but I am as valuable as my father. We're both of human DNA. If my father were to be told that I should die, that would be more painful for him than for himself to say, well, I'll die. Most fathers would love to die over seeing their own son die. And so that's why for me, when Jesus speaks of the Father or speaks of himself as if he is God, to me, it makes sense that he is of the same caliber and that he is quite literally equal with God, and he is God, despite being sort of in a superposition in that he's separate in the Trinity. It's interesting to me, and it makes sense to me because it's almost like he is of equal value of God. And that makes the death of God's Son so much more painful for God himself. So Gordon gives us two scriptures here. Like, by the way, for those of you who aren't Christian or you're not religious at all, getting scripture like this is completely meaningless to you. And I understand that. These are more for people who say that Jesus never said he was God. But Gordon is saying, well, what about John 8:11-12, which is, I am the light of the world. He who follows me shall not walk in darkness, but have the light of life. That's not necessarily him saying he's God. Okay. Gordon says, I and the Father are one. John 10:20. You know what's funny? You can find all the answers with Grok. It's so funny. Like if I want Grok to argue in favor of Jesus being divine, I could do it for you right now, and it would just be like, oh. But I don't want to do that. Alex Height says a lot of this makes more sense when you understand the best theories of the atonement. Man, the atonement and the equation for salvation, the reason why there needs to be sacrifice, the reason why there needs to be divine blood, the reason why there needs to be divine blood to cleanse you and to clean you from sin, the reason why we're not allowed to be in the presence of the divine if we are not clean ourselves. All of that stuff is an equation that is not clear, and I would argue that most Christians would probably have some kind of strange answer as to why the blood of Christ or why salvation actually is, or how it functions, how it actually works, like what's the actual code behind it. They wouldn't be able to fully articulate it. Now, no, let me say that again. They would articulate it, but their version would be different than someone else's. Why do you need to be perfect in the presence of God? That's the first question. Tuckback says God's Son is God? It's too paradoxical. Well, Tuckback, if it made sense, wouldn't you start to think maybe man made it up? So there is part of me that finds that something being... Okay, so first off, superposition. The idea that something can be in the same place at two... The idea that something can be in two places at once is paradoxical. Yet... physicists argue that it can happen, at least theoretically. There's a lot of things theoretically that we think about extra dimensionally, and we're like, that's okay. But when it comes to God saying he can be multiple entities at once, like, why is it so strange that God can be two things at once? Like why is that such a problem? I find that interesting because in a way, aren't you? How many of you feel like multiple things at once? You feel like a body, but you also feel like a spirit. Some days you wake up and you feel like a different person. I am a 10-year-old, or I was a 10-year-old, but does that mean that I was never a 10-year-old because I'm not a 10-year-old now? There's a lot of weird stuff like that where it's like, if God wants to be a man and come down as a man and serve a different function, but he can still be divine and he can still be God, is that too much? Is that too paradoxical? But I understand that argument breaks down. I understand that all of these do. That's why I don't like arguing about it, because it ultimately comes down to faith, and it also comes down to fruit. So does that make sense when I say that, guys? Like, there's no way to convince anybody of anything. Like, it's just not possible. Because you can't prove any of it. Why is it that I can't get out of this freaking room? Oh, it's that right there. Okay. All right. Why would God bother making that distinction between son and father? Well, Tuck Mac, that's what I was explaining when it came to Abraham. So like all three faiths are their core is their root is Abraham. This is so wonderful. It's just fun storytelling. So a great story has a setup and a payoff. So the story of Abraham and Isaac is strange. It's like Abraham is promised to have a son. He finally has a son. And through that son is going to be, Israel. And yet God goes, okay, now I want you to kill that son. I mean, it's a full-on test from God, and it's kind of crazy, and it seems kind of spiteful, if I'm being honest, and nasty. But sometimes God does that, at least when it comes to the Bible, like especially with Job. So Abraham takes his son to the top of the mountain, and just as he's about to stab his son, God says, stop. And he provides another sacrifice, which is a lamb. And so they kill the lamb. Or is it a lamb? Or is it a goat? I can't remember. Anyway, that's the front bookend. That's Genesis. Then, when Christ comes, what is the Christian theology? The Christian theology is then Christ comes, and God says, I'm going to sacrifice my son so that you don't have to, right? So that you don't have to experience pain, death, suffering, and the result of your problems. I'm actually going to solve that for you with my son. So it's this beautiful payoff, set up, payoff, set up, payoff. It's a ram. That's right, Jackson. It's a ram. So first off, why does God have to sacrifice his son? My theory is because there is nothing more painful than sacrificing your son. There's nothing more sacrificial. Now, Jesus does say there's no greater love than to lay down one's life. My theory is that anyone would rather lay down their life than their own sons, right? So when God sacrifices his son, I think it's almost God choosing to go, okay, what's the most loving thing I could possibly do for these people? How about I give up my own son? Then the question becomes, okay, but then does he need to be divine? Does he need to be equal in value to God? And my theory is yes. If he's your son, yes. Otherwise, he's not your son. So it breaks down if Jesus isn't divine. And if he's not at the same infinite value as God himself. Do you see what I'm saying? This is all theoretical, and I'm just sort of BSing my way through this, to be completely honest. But it's fun to talk about. Okay, well, we've got chain guns being added to the floors. We could do a chain gun down here as well. Maybe like one up here. Yeah, I think that would be cool. Like if we enter this right here and there's a chain, like we enter this hallway here and there's a chain gun like right up there. A chain gun turret is what I mean. So let's do that. Turret, chain gun variant. Copy. Paste it inside here. And we'll do one here as well. Guys, is what I said, does it make sense at all, or am I just going crazy? It's certainly all metaphorical and poetic. I think it was Richard Dawkins who said, like Christians can be drunk on symbols. And I understand that completely, but also I think, I mean, isn't human existence just symbols? I mean, everything we value is about connectivity, being connected to one another, feeling connection to some purpose. We all want to be part of a story. So if we can't rely on symbols to find meaning and purpose, and then I'm like, it just feels really gray. So, Thomas, what's your PC configuration? It's a nice PC. Alex Height says, was the Godhead intrinsically Father, Son, Holy Spirit before creating the universe? Alex, that's a great question. Is God intrinsically anything? I mean, was God even intrinsically love? Because, they say God is love. Well, so was love God? Was it first love and it was God, or was it God is love? It's hard. It's like, was love created because of God, or was God created because of love? So those are really weird, strange, fun questions to ask that I don't have the answer to. Now, obviously, people would say, well, they're equal, neither begot the other. And I'm like, well, not necessarily. I mean, right? Not necessarily. Is this a arena? I think that's an arena. Okay, I mean, honestly, I think we've done enough turrets on this level. So what I can do is I can create GUIDs for these turrets. So let's generate GUIDs and solve for repeated ones as well. Thank you, Gordon, by the way, for this duplication script. Thank you. And then 4x4 here. We're going to revert. Look at all this stuff that got screwed up. So we're going to revert all that. And then we're going to go here. Put that there. And then put it again there. Select material. Where is it? This one here? Actually, it's this right here. The trim. Where to put that here. So by the way, for those of you just joining us, we're working on the elevator here. We also have to do it with the other elevator as well. We're working on turrets. We're adding turrets. Now, the reason why this is correlated to the elevator is because what's happening is I have to generate GUIDs for the turrets, right? But in order to do that, I also have to generate a bunch of GUIDs for the elevator. So it just causes a bunch of problems. I have to basically revert the elevator to its original state. Crap. Okay. Let's look for elevator 4x4. There's two elevators, actually. No, there's only one. There's only one. This is from Alex. I would say God is the definition of love, being three perfect persons in loving harmony. God is where the concept of love comes from, emits from. Or is love where the concept of God comes from? That's the thing. When you equate something like that, it becomes almost impossible to start talking about one thing being first you know? Mike Jemmy says, do you think that the religious text could be faulty because it was transcribed by men? Of course. Like, you're gonna get translation issues. You're gonna get some translations that are better than others. I think when people talk about the infallibility of the Bible, they're talking about honestly just the core tenets, the sentences, the paragraphs being true. But obviously certain words are going to get screwed up and mistranslated, and some are missing from text and others aren't, you know. That's just the way it is. Okay, well, I feel like we got a pretty good let's see if these turrets are working. I'll show you guys a little bit of this level. I'm not happy to do it, but I'll do it. Hey Thomas, would you be willing to help me polish my pitch deck to publishers? Oh my goodness. Where am I? I should start in the elevator. Oh my goodness, he can shoot through the floor. That's so strange. I'm glad we tested it. That guy right there. He's shooting through the effing floor. Why? There's a mesh collider and he's shooting through that freaking floor. That doesn't make any sense. What? Is it because of his raycast? I see. I think we have an issue with the raycast. James Henderson, does anyone believe that God in the Bible is a literal being with a physical body? I don't think anybody believes that God the Father is necessarily only a physical being. I think they think that the Father is the Father. The creator of the universe is a mystery, and he manifests in different forms. For example, if God can speak through a bush to Moses, why can he not speak through a human face, being Jesus? Right? Why can't he possess and manifest in ways he wants? So, he's not a spaghetti monster. He's not a man with a big gray beard. Although he could be, if he wanted to, you know? So for some reason, we're getting some weird issues with this turret, and I have a feeling that it's to do with this raycast. It has to do with the position of the raycast. There it is. Transformed up position. And it's coming through the ground for some reason, which is just a real shame. Let's enter play mode to be sure again. Where does he stop? Okay, right there. Okay, he can't see me. Now he can, okay. For some reason he can see me there. And it's so strange, I don't know why. That's because he can see through these walls. Ooh. Boy, that's not good. Okay, I have a solution. We need to do a raycast in the other direction as well. Right? So we need to do one here. We really need to do it in both directions, right? So we need to do one here and one from the player as well, for it to work. There we go. And starting from the player's position, moving in the direction. Okay, how do we find... okay. We need direction to player and direction from player. I do wonder if they're the exact same thing, honestly. Right? I wonder if they're the same values. Do we think they're the same values, guys? So if we have direction from player, we can do direction from player right here. So if those two raycasts work, meaning one comes and hits the player and then one emits from the player and hits the enemy, then it's like good. But the problem is it's coming through a quad, and that quad isn't double-sided. So the out values, this needs to be out hit enemy, which is here. So if those both occur and we get data, and it does happen, then get an issue here with this. What's going on here? Really? Oh yeah, we can get rid of that. There we go. So if that occurs, then do your thing, right, guys? Now we have an issue here. I don't know why. There we go. Makes sense. Am I doing it right? No, it's checking. It was working last week or 2 weeks ago. The problem is it's shooting through a quad. That's it. It's just shooting through a quad. The raycast is going through a quad. No, it's, yeah, so both of you, Rahul and Wrathful, I understand what you're saying, but the problem is it's shooting through a quad's back face. That's all it is. So let us double check and see if this works. You guys ready to test it out? Now this will make it more, I don't know why I'm spawning here. I'm gonna freaking die, dude. Oh yeah, no, guys, I had a blast with this conversation. If this was intriguing to you at all, and you're like, wow, that's kind of weird what Thomas was talking about, go get yourself baptized. No, read the Bible. See what you think. Okay, so he can still shoot through. And he stops here. What? Okay, so he doesn't stop there, but he stops here. He's just able to shoot through walls because of the raycast. But if the moment I do this, look, the raycast doesn't hit me there. So there's something going on here. Let's double check. I can, Abdo. I didn't want to type it. What is happening? So there's this right here. That's I believe that this. Oh, come on, Thomas. What's going on, dude? Okay, yep, that's a quad. See, look, he's able to see through. So that's what he's seeing. So what I was trying to do is trying to say, look, if the player's here, shoot it back at the enemy, and if it hits the enemy,
Ah, yes. Okay. What we need to do is we need to say if hit dot transform equals that, but also if player hit, which hit enemy dot transform dot game object is this. Then we're good. Does that make sense? The problem is that hit enemy needs its own layer mask, which is the enemy layer. Yeah. So let's go to player layer and change it to enemy layer. Change it to, what am I saying? Player layer. Enemy layer. Man, this is tough, guys. I was really hoping I wouldn't have to do this. All right. So let's go to our turrets here. Let's go to the root turret, which is the cannon. And we'll go to his enemy layer, which is going to be default and enemy. Right? So that way, the player is shooting a raycast at the enemy, and the enemy is shooting a raycast at the player. If both of those equal, we're solid. You could shoot at the player. Okay? Oh no. Now it doesn't work at all. Honestly, it should always be coming from the player. We don't need that. We just need it to come from the player, honestly. So really, it shouldn't be this. You shouldn't be shooting it out of... You shouldn't be shooting the raycast to test and see if you can actually see the player. You shouldn't be doing it from the turret. You should be doing it from the player. Thank you, 3D Printer Academy. I'm trying my best. So we're shooting it out of the player's transformed up. Ah, look at that. We're shooting it out of the player's transformed position. The direction from the player, which is my position minus the player's position, normalized. We're going to get out data, which is hit enemy. And we're going to be doing it from the enemy layer, which we're just going to call it layer. And if that data, if we hit the enemy and it hits the turret, now I will say I'm not sure. Yeah, it doesn't have a collider. So it should be my parent. Whew. Getting hot in here. Transform.gameObject.transform.parent. Couldn't we just do transform.parent? .gameObject. There we go. If the raycast emits from the player and it hits the turret sees you. But it only wants to check its own self, which is an enemy layer. Let's see. Let's double check here. It's all set to enemy. Good.
That is set to enemy. Good. So therefore we just say default, which is it's going to hit walls. The raycast is going to hit walls. It's also going to hit the enemy. It's going to hit itself, and it's going to come from the player. If that's the case, then it can see the player and it will begin shooting. Okay. Mother. No, I want turrets anywhere. Anywhere and everywhere. All right, so something's wrong with our code here. You guys want to analyze this? We're going to do direction from player. Good. We get this normalized data. That's fine. Hit enemy is the out data. If, okay, so we're shooting from the player. The direction from the player. We're hitting the data that we're going to get out of this is the hit enemy data. And we're going to get the detection radius, that's good, and then the layer. If the data we get is the enemy, well, let's debug what the data is. It might be the player, but it shouldn't be. It doesn't need to collide with the player. Yeah, let's print it out. I hit plus, and then let's do the data. Hit enemy dot transform dot game object. This dot transform dot parent dot game object. Yeah, let's see what it's hitting. It might actually be hitting something else, but honestly, it should be hitting this, right? Which is my parent. Beep, beep, right there, right? So I'm not sure what it thinks it's hitting, but let's print it out. So let's go over here and take a look. I hit pillar, Victorian round. I hit grapple target. I hit good. And remember, it's emitting from the player, not the turret. Now, I hit polyshape. I hit polyshape. Polyshape 32, which is what? Okay, so for some reason it's hitting this, which is the world. It's hitting the world. So I'm not sure why that's happening. My theory is it's because of the position. What is it doing? What is it doing? Oh man. What is it doing, guys? Let's double check its layers. I'm glad we found this glitch because I thought the turrets were just fine the way they were, but apparently they're not. That's set to default. That one's set to enemy. And it's default and enemy. So I don't know why the raycast. I wish I could
see it? Debugging a raycast is so freaking annoying because you have to do a whole new raycast for the print. All right, we'll see where it is. We'll keep our game view here and the scene view here and see where the raycast is. Where am I? Oh, let's turn on gizmos. There we go. There it is. Look. I told you I was right. Okay, so we need to... yes. We need its position. That's so freaking hilarious. Look. The box collider. It's not... It's... Wait, what? Why is that happening, guys? Why is it ignoring it? What? Okay. It needs to be set to everything for some reason. So that's the ignore layer, not the receive layer. So for some reason, I don't know why. I mean, maybe it's because we need to do this. Do we really need to do that? Is that going to be the issue, the solution? Yeah, raycasts are like everything. I saw a blind person in Disney World, and they were using. It was awesome. They were doing so good. It was so cool. They were using their stick. I was like, that's a raycast. Whoa. I just committed suicide. Yeah. Let's clear out the let's see if this works now. Okay? So for some reason I got spawned in a really weird spot. By the way, those just joining us, just remember to check out Full-Time Game Dev below. Full-Time Game Dev is going to teach you everything that I've learned in the last decade of making indie games full-time. And 25% off. I'm sorry, 40% off for the spring sale. Last 14 days, there's 100 students available, 100 seats available. You also get 2D Art Pro and 3D Art Pro completely for free. So check it out below. And if you're a student, let me know in the chat what you think about the program. All right, guys, where's the turret? He's right there. So let's test it out. First, we'll do it up here. Was I right? I think I was. I think I was right that you don't want it emitting from the enemy. You want it emitting from the player. Crap! What? The hubris, Thomas. Look. Got it. Yeah, for some reason that didn't work, actually. I don't know. I don't know what's happening. Not sure what's going on with these turrets.
the moment I set it to everything, we're good. Isn't that weird? No, it's not that. I'm going to set it to everything and see what happens. You know? All right. So curious as to why I can shoot through those. You know, I think I need to change their collision. Oh, I know why. Okay, so that worked. I don't know why, but we're just gonna set the layer mask to everything. We'll figure it out. All right, well, we need to finish that up. But are plasmids in this game? No. All right, fellas, ladies and gentlemen, had a blast with you today. Check out the Full-Time Game Dev Spring Sale below. This comes every season, and it's a different kind of sale, different kind of bundle, but it doesn't happen all the time. So check it out below. You get a 40% off, and you're going to learn exactly what I've learned in the last decade of making indie games. Can't make any promises. I can just tell you what I've done. I'm going to teach you how to make games in Unity. There's also lectures on how to do Godot and Unreal. There's 2D, 3D, how to code. You can pick whatever engine you want to learn in and just stick with that one. It's up to you. Or you can learn them all. You're also going to get 2D Art Pro and 3D Art Pro completely free. You're also going to learn how to pitch to publishers, how to hit the Steam front page, how to crowdfund, how to do Kickstarter, all the things that I've done in my career. So check it out below. By the way, great reviews here, including Chris Stair, who went full-time. Bart Manzer went full-time. Everflux went full-time as well with the help of the course. And Soltar and Antonio DB. Just check out the reviews, see if it's something you're interested in. I love you guys.